Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. A brand new patch has just been pushed to the live version of Overwatch, and this includes the new deathmatch game mode and all of the 4 characters that got a straight buff. So we're talking Junkrat, Orisa, Roadhog, and Widowmaker. Those characters were on the PTR, they got a straight buff, they had no nerfs to them whatsoever. The other 2 characters that were kind of readjusted, which is Diva and Mercy, did not get pushed over to the live version of the server yet. So I'm going to go through all of the changes that are going to be on the live server right now. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because anytime Blizzard updates this sort of stuff, I'll make a video and notify you guys about it. So subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any of it. So first up is the brand new game mode. It is the Deathmatch and Team Deathmatch. If it's just the regular free-for-all version, then it's 8 players, every man for themselves. First person to get 20 eliminations wins. If it's Team Deathmatch, then it's 4 versus 4, and first team to 30 points will win. And a bunch of the existing maps have been changed in order to accommodate the new, much smaller deathmatch style of arena. And those are going to be Hanamura, Horizon, Anubis, Volskaya, Dorado, Eichenwald, Hollywood, and Kings Row. And for Team Deathmatch only, Black Forest, Castillo, Echo Point, Antarctica, and Necropolis. And of course, the brand new map for both versions of Deathmatch is the Chateau map. It's the castle. That is the ancestral home of Widowmaker. There's a bunch of little Easter eggs there. I already did a complete fly-through of the map, so you can go and check that out if you want. Alright, so let's get into the heroes and all the buffs that they got. So first one is going to be Junkrat. His concussion mine. Junkrat can now hold 2 mines. Now, it's important to know you can't throw 2 on the ground at any time. If you have one out and you throw the second, then the first one just disappears. So what you need to do is throw it, detonate it, and then you can throw the other one and detonate that. So you can kind of chain it. You can use it to get to really, really high areas, or you can use it to do a lot of damage to someone who's kind of in a confined area or nearby to you. Next up is Rip Tire. Tire's movement speed has been increased by 30%, and there is no longer a time limit when wall climbing. So the tire itself is still just as fragile as it was before. You can still shoot it and destroy it no problem, but it moves a lot faster, and you can get it over walls and other obstacles much easier. Now, these are definitely some good buffs for Junkrat, but don't think even for a second that this is going to make him in any way, shape, form, or fashion overpowered. This basically took Junkrat from being a terrible bottom-of-the-line character to somewhere in the middle. Junkrat is definitely going to need a little bit more improving, but this is at least a step in the right direction. The next character is Orisa, Fusion Driver, which is her left click. Projectile speed increased by 20%. Now, I want to clarify here, this is not her rate of fire. This isn't how fast she can shoot. It's how fast the actual projectile travels after she's fired it. So this should make hitting targets that are at medium range a little bit easier. You're probably still not going to hit targets that are at long range, but at the medium range, it should make it much better. A protective barrier. This is a massive, massive buff for Orisa. The barrier size was increased by 20%. It's kind of ridiculous. It's gigantic now. The barrier shape has also been changed to allow for more coverage from enemies that are below the barrier. So it kind of now functions similar to Reinhardt's shield, where it cuts into the ground. Before, the barrier would just stop at the ground level, but now it goes a little bit underneath, so if you drop it on top of a payload, then you can't get shot from underneath the barrier. Next up is Roadhog. Take a Breather can now be used while moving, and damage taken while healing has been reduced by 50%. So, I've talked about this in the past. These changes are definitely a buff for him, but they're not good enough. They're not a buff in the right areas. So Roadhog is still going to be just as useless as he was before. He's still going to be the bottom of the barrel. He's still going to probably be the lowest pick rate and the lowest win rate of all the characters in the game. These changes make him marginally better in areas that were not a problem. What's a problem for Roadhog is he just doesn't do anything good enough to really make sense to pick him. Like, if you need a tank, then you pick one of the other characters. If you need a DPS, then you pick a DPS. Like, there's nothing that Roadhog does that is good enough to warrant a spot on a team. And one of the major drawbacks of Roadhog as a character is he effectively acts as an ultimate battery for the enemy team, because they can just keep shooting him and shooting him and shooting him and building up their ult really quickly. Well, these changes to the take a breather actually make him even more of an ult battery. Yeah, when he's getting reduced damage from the breather, they're not going to build as much ult during that one little time frame. But the fact of the matter is he's now going to survive a little bit longer, and because of that, he's basically going to generate even more ult for the enemy team. So he's an even better battery. And even though this is technically a buff, I just do not see this change helping Roadhog in any meaningful way. And the last hero is Widowmaker. Her grappling hook cooldown has been reduced from 12 seconds to 8, and this is definitely going to help her a lot with her mobility. Now, I know a lot of people think that this is basically just for when you're getting dived on, but it actually helps another main problem with Widowmaker and other kind of stationary characters in general, like Hanzo or Bastion or whatever. Basically, Overwatch is a very fast-paced game, and characters with high mobility, or at least decent mobility, are the best. They tend to be really successful. And any characters that tend to be stationary tend to be really problematic. They're not very effective. So for Widowmaker, this is going to allow her to relocate a lot more often. So yeah, you can use it when the Winston or the Genji dives on you, but the thing is, you probably already had it off cooldown anyways, because if Widowmaker shoots up to a location, she's going to be up there firing off a bunch of shots. Chances are she's going to be there long enough in order for that hook to cool down. So now, basically what it's going to allow is Widowmaker players don't have to kind of sit in that one spot too often, worrying about getting dived on and saving that grappling hook. Now what they can do is hook to one area, fire off a bunch of shots, and when the hook comes back up, they can then relocate to another area and then fire off more shots. And they're just going to be able to relocate a lot more often, and that's going to be really helpful for Widowmaker. And the other thing they changed for Widow was the Venom Mine. So affected targets are now visible through walls to you as Widowmaker only. So this is kind of a neat change because the Venom Mine was one of the worst abilities in the game, and it really didn't do much. So now you can actually use it offensively. You can fire it off into a choke point or kind of like near a corner or something, and now it kind of works like a budget sonic arrow, right? It's not quite as good, and it only lets her see it, but it does allow you to get that X-ray vision, which you might be able to use to get off that extra headshot or something like that. So even though it's not nearly as good as Sonic Arrow, it's still a pretty significant buff for what was otherwise a fairly garbage ability. So those are all the new buffs for the characters that just got pushed live today. What do you guys think about it? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Links below. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.